Hi, my name is Dr. Kashif M Awan. I'm a research associate at Stuart Blossom Quantum Matter Institute at University of British Columbia. Today I'll be talking about micro and nanoscale semiconductor device fabrication capabilities at University of British Columbia. I'll be presenting some of the work that I've been doing for past 3 years at UBC under the supervision of Professor Lucas Krustowski and Professor Jeff Young. To make this to make the poster more understandable in this format, I have split it up into 6 slides. The way I've split it up is that I'm starting from the leftmost side of my poster, and each column I'm splitting into 2 slides, so top and bottom. Then I go to the mid portion and again top and bottom, and then the right side, top and bottom. So in total 6 slides. So to start with the details of the clean room, the total area of the semiconductor nanofabrication facility here is 265 meters square. That includes 35 meters square of class 100 or ISO 5 clean room space. The facility is run by 5 full-time staff members, 4 of whom have PhD degrees. I will first talk about some of the major tools that we have, which I call the celebrity tools. The first and the foremost among them would be our electron beam lithography system. This is a Joule JBX 8100 FS. It is a 100 kV 125 megahertz electron beam lithography system with the right fields can go up to 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. Overlay accuracy is plus minus 20, and we can go as low as 10 nanometer in terms of the overlay accuracy. Similarly, this tool has the capability of incorporating small pieces and also wafers of up to 200 millimeter in diameter. So we can do 4-inch, 6-inch, as well as 8-inch wafers. The second tool, which I rate as the celebrity tool in-house, is the MLA 150 maskless lithography system. So this is a direct laser writer. This one has an overlay accuracy of plus minus 250 nanometer, but typically we can get half a micron out of it. The pattern features can go down to 1 micron resolution. It can also incorporate small pieces as well as wafers up to 150 millimeter in diameter, that is 6-inch wafers. So it can do 4, 6, 3, and 2-inch wafers. Next tool I want to highlight from our facility is the Vanguard 3D laser printer for photonic wire bonds. So this tool, in layman terms, I would explain it as a tool capable of 3D printing optical fibers, which can be used to connect one optical chip to another optical chip. As an example would be connecting a laser chip, which is usually a 3.5 substrate, 3.5 semiconductor substrate, to a silicon integrated photonic chip. It can also be used to connect pigtailed optical fibers to optical chip, so sort of a packaging technology. The way it achieves this is by doing a direct write based on 2-photon polymerization. So this tool is heavily used, and we have a few full-time researchers who actually work on this tool in-house. Next tool that I am a big user of is a Plasma Pro 100 Cobra ICP RIE system. So this is a dry etcher, an ICP type etcher. This tool specifically can go from minus 150 degrees Celsius to 400 degrees Celsius. It is compatible to be used with small samples as well as wafer sizes of up to 200 millimeters. So we can do 8-inch, 6-inch, 4-inch wafers. And in-house, we have been doing some 8-inch runs where we do the lithography on our e-beam lithography system, which can also take 8-inch wafers, and then etch it using this ICP RIE system. Presently, we have dedicated this for shallow silicon etch, which means we don't etch more than 1 micron etch depth. We currently develop 2 shallow etch processes in-house. I worked on both of these processes. So the first one is the pseudo Bosch process, which is a mixed process. So it is done at 15 degrees Celsius. So the 2 SEM images here are cross sections of etch tests. And you can see on the left side, we are etching trenches as low as down to 50 nanometer. 40 to 50 nanometer trench sizes. We are fully clearing them for this 500 nanometer substrate for mid-IR integrated photonics. This next image for this pseudo Bosch is a slot waveguide. So again, it's fully cleared. The side walls are near vertical and a smooth looking profile on both sides, and we still have some resist left. The other process that we've developed in-house is a cryogenic silicon etching. So this is, we are doing at -100°C using SF6 and oxygen gases. Again, very vertical sidewall profile. So this is a 200 nanometer diameter hole size, and these are small trenches going down to 45 nanometer. So you can see they're very vertical. We are fully clearing it, and we still have some resist left. It is less selective as compared to the pseudo Bosch process, but in terms of sidewall smoothness or roughness, this is supposed to be smoother than the pseudo Bosch. We are still doing some work to actually be able to quantify this small difference between the two, but so far we haven't been able to see it because the difference is not so big, so we haven't been able to measure these differences. Next tool that I use heavily, and I also like it a lot in this facility, is the AJ sputtering and evap system. So this is an ultra high vacuum chamber which has capability of doing e-beam sputtering as well as magnetron sputtering, e-beam evaporation and magnetron sputtering. We can do up to 6. We have 6 crucibles for the e-beam evaporation and 4 for doing sputtering. It can take small pieces and wafers of up to 4-inch size, so we don't have the 6-inch or 8-inch capability on this one. Now I'll just quickly go through some of the processes that I have developed in-house using the tools that I mentioned earlier and some other standard tools which all the clean rooms have, like wet benches, spinners, hot plates, and all of those things. So the first one, which is our main workhorse, is a shallow silicon passive photonic device process, right? So I usually use a ZEP520 e-beam resist patterned by e-beam lithography. Once the mask is ready, then I will use this mask to transfer the pattern to the underlying silicon layer, which there's some examples of the devices that I've done in-house. So this is an image of a cavity, a pulled out image at 5 micron. This is an image of the resolution pattern, which shows that we are going down till like we can resolve 30 nanometer square sizes or holes. This is another cavity, a nano beam cavity in this case, and this is a different type of 2D photonic crystal cavity where we are using some MEMS to tune the cavity. So these were all done in-house. So for all of these structures, we were using the e-beam system and then our ICP-RIE system. The next process I want to talk about quickly is the ultra-thick SU8 based microfluidic channels. So this was very interesting work that I did late 2020. So these SU8 channels, some of them are as thick as 300 microns, and I developed multiple processes. So one was 100 microns, and then there was 300 microns. So this is for our COVID sensor project. It is a multidisciplinary team that is involved there. There are chemists, there are people from health sciences, and then there are people from us, the integrated photonic groups. So they needed microfluidics using SU8 channels, so this process was developed for that. And we could also do aligned exposures with very thick SU8, which was interesting, looking at the capability of the Heidelberg direct laser writer. So we could do, this is an example of an aligned write. So underlying, I had some pads, and I'm aligning the top channels with those pads. Next process example I want to talk about is nano antennas based meta surfaces. So this is a very hot area in photonics and also in microwaves actually, but these are very small scales for photonics. So in this one, the substrate on this example is silicon, and on top we have gold nano antennas, but we can shift this process onto any other substrate if needed, if there are people out there who want to collaborate for such work, or even give out a contract work with our facility. So we can do that because the process is in-house. We have the library, which we have the process available. So this is the zoomed out image of one surface, an array of this. This array is close to 500 micron square actually. So I zoom in slightly, and then I zoom further in, and then you can see these bow tie antennas with the gaps down till 30 nanometer. The triangles are nicely resolved, pretty sharp. This is as sharp as you can really get them by e-beam lithography, but they are significantly sharp. This process flow here shows the process which is used for this one, which is a bilayer PMMA liftoff. So We start with, in this case, this example is from a thesis actually. So this is glass, and on top we have PMMA, and then we coat another PMMA layer, then we expose it, so we clear it, then we put the metal deposition, and then we do the lift off. So this metal is left removed, and only the one that dropped into the gap is left. Our next process I want to talk about demonstrates the overlay capability of our E-beam lithography system. So this is a 3-layer lithography system process. The first layer are these contact pads, which are titanium on gold, done by liftoff of PMMA, single layer. The next layer aligned with these pads is what we call a photonic layer, which is shown here, these trenches here. And once I zoom in, you can see these trenches. And once these trenches are removed, because this is an SOI wafer, so silica is exposed, and that is the reason the image is not very good resolution, because silica charges. And in the middle here we can see the remaining silicon, which forms the waveguide. This is where the third overlay then we do. If I zoom in onto it, I can see the waveguide, which is 450 nanometer wide, and in the middle I can see here this nano wire, which is NBTIN, superconducting detector for single photon detection. That is the purpose of that kind of device that we are using here. And we can see by measurements here that the thickness of these kind of nanowires, we could get them down till 30 nanometer, and the overlay accuracy, if you look at this, is better than 10 nanometer. It was supposed to be right in the middle, but on top we measure around 68 nanometer. On the bottom side we measure 62 nanometer. So the inaccuracy is roughly 3 nanometer in this case. The last process I want to talk about was done with in collaboration with some other researchers at Quantum Matter Institute. They required membranes which are deep etched into silicon. So for this, there were 2 types of membranes. One has a top silica layer, which you cannot see here because the image is very zoomed out. So this is 500 nanometer silica on top. And then they needed 60 micron deep etched holes. So we patterned it using laser direct writer, which is Heidelberg lithography system I talked about earlier. And then we etched the silica layer first using dry etching, and finally we etched the deep silicon using DRIE at 4D labs at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver. A second kind of membrane was a bit more challenging because this was through etched. So this is a 200 micron thick silicon wafer, and we are etching through. So 200 micron through, and we are etching hole sizes down to 5 to 10 micron in diameter. So again, this was also done successfully, and again we used the Heidelberg to pattern and the DRIE at Simon Fraser lab for the deep etching. This is all that I have to talk about. If you are interested in any of this work that I've presented here, or any of these tools, please reach out to me. My email address is written on top of the poster. I'm also available on Twitter. You can also scan this QR code. It will again directly take you to my Twitter, where you can actually comment on the poster, ask questions about the poster, about any of these processes that I talked about, or any of the tools. Feel free to get in touch for collaborations or for contract work with our facility. I can get you in touch with the right people in the facility. I put some of the references from our recently published work that include some of the work that I presented here. And these are all the people who support our work under the SAPIC Fab consortium. Thanks a lot.